All right, cheers. Welcome into my Homebrew Wednesday number 3 video. I'm here in my basement, obviously, as I've been the last couple weeks, and I want to say thank you to those again who have tuned in the last couple weeks to kind of hear my background and kind of where I'm at, and appreciate it. So, without further ado, I say cheers to you. Oh, that is good. That is good. That's actually my IPA that I brewed a couple weeks ago, and boy, that is actually starting to taste very well in the bottles. One thing I think I talked about last week was conditioning and bottling and seeing how the beers kind of really progress and really start to take on a different flavor profile as they kind of age and the flavors mesh and things start to come together, and that is tasting very good, very good. Um, wow, actually, this is the first sip I had taken of the night, and very, very happy with that. So a couple things I want to talk about. I do want to try and keep this one short. The last two videos have been 13, almost 14 minutes long, and I don't want to bore people. I want to try and get some subscribers and get some people into the channel and hopefully grow from there. So a couple things I want to talk about. First, I brewed a second IPA. I think I talked about a little bit last week. Friday night, I actually bottled that beer, and it had been dry hopping for a week. About 8 days, it had been dry hopping with half an ounce of Amarillo and half an ounce of Citra, and that beer smelled absolutely amazing when I opened up that bucket. Um, I had dry hopped a beer in my past, years ago, and I used fresh hops, so I don't know. I didn't really didn't blow me away as far as the aroma profile, but this beer smelled absolutely amazing. Um, I took a sample and tasted really, really good. So I am fingers crossed, but I think that one is going to be absolutely amazing. And so that was again just a quick recap, an IPA, a Cooper's IPA that I did a 60-minute side boil where I boiled a pound of light malt extract, a pound of dark malt extract with a 60-minute, 30-minute, and 15-minute hop additions. And I also added a pound of dextrose right at the end of the boil for the last 5 minutes of the boil, and then added that to the bucket, added the Cooper's pre-hopped can to that because you don't want to boil those pre-hopped cans. I added the can to that, got my temperature right in line, pitched the yeast, and we're off and running. So I'll probably test that beer maybe next Friday night. It'll be about a week, 2 weeks in the bottle. And what I found is I always I go 2 weeks in the bottles, and then I test one. I put it in the fridge. I let it cool down for a day, 24 hours, and it's really like 3 weeks. I think the last couple beers I've done, 3 weeks is really where they start to taste just excellent. The English bitter that I did recently, at that 3 week mark, it really had matured to a point where it was really good. The hops had really kind of meshed and things mellowed out. Certain flavors mellowed out and the hops kind of balanced out, and things were great with that bitter. And again, this IPA now is probably about 3 weeks old um, in the bottle, and it's a really great beer. It's doesn't have a very fruity kind of hop aroma because I didn't dry hop this one, but it does have kind of an IPA nose to it. boy, the flavor in that is very good, very good. So we'll see. I'm really excited. I've actually been kind of lucky. I've been brewing a lot the last month or two, and so I've got several brews all at the same time. I've got two different IPAs and a bitter, and the bitter's almost gone. The first IPA is almost gone, but I've got the second IPA that I'm drinking tonight. That's ready now, and then I've got the other IPA that I'm really excited about because I think that's going to be a good beer. And then this Friday night, I'm actually going to brew another beer, and that's really what I wanted to talk about tonight. I actually picked up a Cooper's Real Ale. Let me get that into screen here. So this is the Real Ale, and the only reason I really picked this up was because mainly they didn't have what I had wanted to do, and what I wanted to do was pick up the wheat kit, the wheat beer kit, and do a fruit beer. We're coming into summer. It's starting to get nice, and I want to do a fruit beer. Maybe a blueberry or a raspberry, or some kind of beer. Probably be a blueberry. And so I'm gonna investigate that down the road, but they didn't have it. So I picked up this Real Ale kit, and what I did was I started to do some research, and went on 17 Brew Crew. I've got a post up there right now, and I actually just posted up tonight this recipe that I'm going to share with you. And Arrogant Bastard Ale actually posted some interesting comments in which he talked about Real Ale not really being a style of beer per se, but more a method of brewing, and in which it's an unfiltered ale or unfiltered beer. And so kind of got me to thinking, well, I guess all of our homebrew is really real ale, because we're not filtering it. It's unfiltered. And so that was kind of an eye-opening and ear-opening moment. And so what I did was said, well, geez, what can I do with the beer then? And so I went into Beersmith. If you don't have Beersmith, I'd recommend picking it up. It's $27.95, I think, and it's an absolutely awesome program. What I really love about it is you can pick a style of beer. There's a list a mile long of different styles of beers, and you pick that style, and then as you add ingredients, there's a scale at the bottom, and it kind of moves up and down, and it shows you how your beer that you're building kind of fits into the mold of the beer style you've chosen. And so what I did was I took my Cooper's Real Ale, and I put it into the program and started to build this. And so this is the Cooper's Real Amber Ale. And so I decided to build an amber ale. And one thing I wanted to do with this beer was kind of just throw it down quick, get it in the bucket, get it fermenting, get it right behind the IPA so I can have something to drink with that, right after that, or with that, so I can kind of let the IPA, age in the bottle a little longer. What's been fun is seeing how these beers change over time, and realizing that 3-4 week period is really where you want to drink them. And so with that, also, with this, I'm not going to do a side boil. I just want to get this in quick. So what I did was I took the Cooper's Real Ale kit. I am going to add 2 pounds of dark malt extract, dry malt extract, 1 pound of dextrose, and half a pound of maltodextrose. I've heard it called multidextrin, but it's looks like here it's actually called maltodextrin, and I've heard it called maltodextrin before as well. And the reason I'm adding that is because I've had trouble with head retention and lacing. I don't know if it will help with the lacing, but I have heard that maltodextrin will help with head retention and then also mouth feels, which obviously is probably not a bad thing. So I'm going to add that to hopefully see if I can get a little bit more head retention. And then I'm also going to change out the Cooper's yeast. I've had good luck with the Cooper's yeast. I haven't had a batch yet. I've brewed 4 or 5 Cooper's kits now, and I've never had problem with the yeast. But I figured I'd try something different, so I'm going to try the US-05 ale yeast and just see how that does. Um, and see if I can taste kind of a difference in the yeast. And I guess maybe the better way to do that would be to brew a similar beer that you've brewed in the past. This might be a good one because there's going to be no side boil. It's going to be quick. So maybe I'll brew this, at a later date with if I like it, provided, but with the Cooper's yeast, and then I'd be able to compare the two, same beer, same ingredients, and see what happens. So that's it. The one thing that Beersmith did say was that this is actually a little light in color for an amber ale. It did line up, in the green, so it's good to go. It's acceptable. And what I thought was, well, geez, maybe I should add some more dark malt extract. And so I took out the dextrose and I added another pound of dark malt extract, but it just threw the levels way off. And so I backed that out and I went back to this original recipe. The one thing I might do, because I obviously have, as I've explained in earlier videos, I like hops, I like the bitter, so I may continue to tweak with this a little bit after the video and try and get a little bit more IBUs into it and see what we can do. I really don't want to do a side boil with this one. I kind of want to just do it quick, but we'll see. The one thing I do want to do actually is dry hop it, and I don't know. The Amarillo and the Citra were awesome, so I may look to do something with, do a half ounce and a half ounce again of the Amarillo and Citra and save the other, half and half for another brew down the road. I did order. I'm excited. I ordered an IPA, Cooper's IPA, and Cooper's Celebration. I think it's Celebration Ale. So those will be in a couple weeks, next week I think, and we'll pick those up, and I'm going to start planning the pale ale, and then I'll revisit this fruit beer thing here sooner or later. I may just get the kits and throw them on the shelf, and then order up a wheat kit and do that sooner than later. So we'll see. I also want to brew the Mexican Cerveza. I kind of want to make the run through the Cooper's kits here, and then I think I might be ready to start branching out into some all partials or maybe an all grain. I've done all grain before. I feel like now I'm starting to get a little bit more comfortable with the methods, with the brewing. Temperature, I've got a pretty good method of getting the temperature down right now with these side boils. But I do own a chiller that I built myself. So yeah, that's it. I wanted to keep this quick, and again, here I am at 13.5 minutes. I hope you guys like it. I hope you'll continue to watch. You'll continue to subscribe, and we'll see. We'll try and get a quick video for you next week. So I appreciate it. I hope everyone is doing well, and I wish you a happy Homebrew Wednesday. And cheers. 17.